During the past 2 years, Jacob Hayden has taken TikTok by storm, amassing over 2 million followers through his covers and renditions of popular songs.
Take me to New York, I'd love to see LA.
I was like, oh my gosh, they like it. And then I just snapped into it.
Today we sit down with him to discuss the biggest challenges that he faces transitioning into a music career, the journey he's had on social media, and the story behind his newly released single, Lies.
Going back to a party where a person that I used to talk to was there. I want to make this song like about that, because it's like, now you're calling back to me and basically wanting to say this to them.
Jacob Hayden, welcome to the show.
Hi guys.
How do you feel now that your new single Lies is finally released?
I honestly am like happy that I finally released it. It's been a year in the making. We started Lies out in July, and I wrote it when I was actually at a sleepover. They wanted to do a meeting, and he's like, look, I have this amazing song, this amazing hook. I think you might like it. So I was like, okay, I'll try it. So then I was listening to it. I was like, oh my gosh, it sounded so good. And when something is really, really good, I can write like so fast to it. And I was earlier on like in my like writing style and writing scheme. So I was a little slower at that time. But when that song hit, I wrote the chorus in like 20-30 seconds. And there was so much going on in the house. I was in a new environment. I was at my friend's house. There was a bunch of stuff going on, but they were like, listen to this song. And honestly, yeah, it was really good. But it's been a year in the making, and I feel really good about it. I feel really happy that it's out for you guys to listen to.
So you've been on TikTok since 2019?
I started in 2019. Originally, I wasn't supposed to have like TikTok. Like my friends had it, and I knew about Musical.ly, so that was before TikTok. And I was like, I don't know if you can sing on this, because I see people lip syncing, but maybe I should sing on it. But I just never did it.
Yeah.
And I remember it was like May 19th. And I remember exactly where it was, like near my house. And I was with two of my friends at the time going home or something. And they're like, you don't have TikTok? I was like, no. And they're like, just download it. I was like, fine. So I downloaded it. I got extremely addicted to it. I just made like funny like videos that I thought was funny. I didn't think people would like my singing. And one day I was like, you know what? I think I'm just going to sing one song in the stairwell and have my friend be in it and maybe trick the viewers. And I got them. Like it got like 16,000 likes, which was like, that was pretty good. And I like switched in between like both of my registers, and I didn't think it was going to go viral. Like I was in the shower and I was just singing. I was like, oh my gosh, that's a really good idea. And then I went in the stairwell, I did it, and the rest is history. I woke up the next morning and it was like, I had to thank everyone for like 10,000 followers when I just thanked them a day ago, like for 1,000. I was like, what is going on? But yeah, that one, that got like 200,000 likes, which I think is pretty good.
How did you come up with the name Singing Rat?
Singing Rat. Basically, I like making fun of myself. I don't know. I don't really like taking life too seriously. I'm sure some of these viewers may know that if they do know me. But if you don't, I don't take life seriously at all. Everything to me is like kind of like a joke, which is kind of bad. I like laugh at everything, which is like not good. But I called myself Singing Rat because like I was like, ew, I look like a rat when I do high notes. So that's where it came from.
Well, if it makes you feel better, I don't think you look like a rat. So.
Oh, thanks. Well, somebody drew like fan art, and I really love fan art. Do not get me wrong, but I'm being honest with you right now. They did it like when I was like, oh God, help.
Picked a bad screenshot.
Yeah.
What was your initial way of thinking when it came to marketing yourself on the platform, say back in 2019, or as opposed to now? Is it different? Is it the same?
Well, I did not know anything about marketing. Zero. I never went to school for marketing. I never really learned about algorithm, never really was into tech. All I knew is I could sing, I can get this out to people, but I need to figure out how I can do that. So over time, I figured out how to use hashtags, which relate to the video, and things that play on to things. So people usually say, oh my God, it sounds like Ariana Grande. If I'm singing Ariana Grande, of course I'm going to put Ariana in it, but if not, as is, if I want to add like just a random hashtag where it's like, oh, it kind of does sound like her there, I'll play off of that because it'll work for marketing. You always want to put as much hashtags that you can, but not too much, and it's things that directly relate to the videos. But in 2019, like I had no idea compared to now. I have so many more prerequisites, so many like expectations and things that I add onto the video that I feel like can elevate it a lot. And it gets it out to people more. But in 2019 there was like no base. It was just more experimenting, and I knew that at the time. I was like, it's okay to fail, and in general for anyone, like, it's okay to fail. That's how you learn. And through that year, I was like, you know what, I'm just going to be testing out things. If things don't go viral, that's perfectly fine. Keep it up and show them that sometimes things don't go always let you want it, and that's just how the universe or anything like falls into place. You just have to let it be and let go. But I've marketed myself a certain way now to where I feel like I'm reaching the most people that I can, but obviously you can do so much better, because we're always learning every single day.
Now it's time for a segment called Viral Hits, where we take content creators like yourself and we discuss your biggest hits and what went behind them. We'll start with your most viewed video at 31 million.
Oh my gosh.
Whoa, no. Yeah.
At the time when you made that, did you expect it to be as big as it was?
No. I was like filming in my room, and usually I'm like, oh my god, this location's gonna be crap. Like, I don't think this is gonna be viral. And I was like, you're not really putting much effort into this, Jacob. Like, it's like a very basic video. Like, do you really want to do this? Like, I don't think this will go viral. And I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna sing it. I'm not really gonna add anything to it. Like, I'm just gonna do it. And I was like, you know what? That wasn't bad. First couple takes, I was like, that's okay. And then the third, it was like perfect. Had no idea that was going to be my most viewed TikTok ever. But that's usually how it goes. The video that you're like, I don't know, is like the most viral one. Or if you feel in your gut like, oh my god, this is going to get pretty good attention, it will. Yeah. Like, you can tell. One
thing I noticed about that video in particular actually is that before you post it, like, you had a fair bit of momentum. Like, your videos were like 50,000 to 100,000s, right? After that video, everything was hitting 100,000s and even millions. I want to hear your thoughts on how, well, number one, do you feel that momentum when you're in it? And then two, how do you mentally handle that momentum?
Well, I feel it, like, it helps out a lot with other videos that you can catapult off of and jump onto the next trampoline, if that makes sense. But, like, it does help. And mentally, how I feel about it, it's just like, I got this attention now. Don't put too much pressure on yourself, because I used to do that, and it's just like, Jacob, let go. Just be yourself. Do whatever, and don't mind block yourself. Like, be open to everything, and just do it. And if things don't work out, that's perfectly fine. You're exactly where you're supposed to be right now, and that's what people like to forget. And people feel like they should be somewhere else, but no, you're where you're supposed to be right now, and just go with the flow, be yourself. And yeah, when momentum picks up like that, I just have to remind myself about that. But it helps, like, with other videos, to go viral on others. Yeah.
Yeah, no, definitely. I want to know, what are like the biggest challenges that you've been facing transitioning from covering songs and music from other artists, as opposed to creating your own music now, where you got to write the music, you got to understand the production that goes into it, all those kind of things?
Well, I don't really have a huge team, so I have to do a lot of these things on my own, and it's a lot of pressure sometimes, but honestly, it all pays off when the music comes out, and when you see people that like actually enjoy it. It's like, oh my gosh, you like it that much? Like, yeah. Thanks, you know? Yeah. But it's hard because you have to find your own style. When you're doing covers, like, for a while, it's kind of hard doing that. And again, like, you have to let go, and you can't mind block yourself, and you just have to find yourself. It's been a while, and I'm still trying to find myself and still getting there. I feel like I can be myself more. But the challenge is exactly that. You have to find yourself, find your own style, and find an audience. Most of it is like, you have to find the audience that will definitely like your discography and music, because they are out there. You just have to reach them in many ways.
Does your background in social media help you understand what the audience wants?
Yeah. I'm still learning my audience, but basically I can get like a glimpse of what they like and what they listen to. But again, I'm still learning. My singles are pretty diverse, if that makes sense, but they have some sort of similarity, but it's more underneath for like music listeners that would know. It can be difficult sometimes, but social media has helped me, and it's also like given me experience in marketing that I can just put towards music and add things to like music that I feel like my audience would like. It's like a different platform that I work on, because it is, but like, you know what I mean?
Are you hands-on when it comes to the production side of your music?
Yeah, like I help out as much as I can. I'm not really good with computers, but when I would make TikToks at home and play the piano a lot, I used to deconstruct songs to find out the chord progressions, but I'm not too like smart in theory as well. So I use my voice a lot with that kind of stuff, and with melodies and like hooks. I have like little ideas here and there. The person like Akila is like just mostly controlling the computer and adding his stuff, and I'll add on to that and add my little twist or add my ideas, and it varies between songs. Some songs I'm more pushed back and I'm like, okay, I don't have many ideas for this production wise. Like I'll pitch in my ideas and melodies and like thoughts about certain instruments. I'll like recreate them like with my voice, just to be like, oh, the bass should be like boom 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 boom, like, you know. I won't like literally take out the bass or like go on the computer and redo it. It's just like using my voice. But we all work as a team collectively, but I'm pretty hands-on with the production and writing as well. Yeah.
So what kind of elements do you look for production wise when picking a song like to go onto, like a beat that you're gonna sing onto?
I'll see where things can be changed. Like Akil would be like, sometimes he'll be like, oh my gosh, I have this like cool bass line. I'll be like, oh my god, that sounds really good. But then I'll also hear like some other type of melody in my head where I feel like it can go elsewhere, and then I'll like pitch that. And yeah.
So what kind of genres can you see yourself exploring in the future?
I want to see if I can like take some elements from like country. Like not like I don't know, country pop is like what I like as well. It still sounds very poppy, and it's not like too like country, if that makes sense. But it would be like minor things that won't actually be able to hear. Like it'll be in the back, if that makes sense. I want to experiment with that, and like rock. I love rock, and like the vocals that come from rock, and like some punk and like scene music from the 2000s is like really good. I want to experiment with that like in the future.
Are you a fan of Olivia Rodrigo or?
Yeah, I think she's pretty good.
Yeah, well, she's like the perfect blend of that. I feel like that punk and that rock sound. So.
Yeah, I like her writing scheme and the whole album that she just came out with. It's like a journal, which is like very good. It's personable, right? So,
how important is it for the artist that you're listening to be the writer of the music?
I think it's really important because it connects the listener to the artist. It's almost like the artist is speaking to the listener, and vulnerability is very good, but it can be very, very hard. For me, like I don't open up, so when I do, it's mostly in music, but I think it's extremely important. And I like doing that like myself, and like making sure that, is this true about me? Like, what more can I say about this? Like things like that. Like I ask questions like that and try to put as much lyrics as I can about like things that are going on.
Do you feel pressure to have to write all the lyrics yourself then, or
no, like
you'll still have like ideas bounce around?
Yeah, like some days I'm not like writing too much. Like I won't take too much direction just because like I'm having like a brain thing. Yeah, brain fog. But then on other times I'm like, oh my gosh, let me write this down, and then I'll like spit out a whole like verse or like a pre-chorus.
What's the easiest part of the song for you to write, the verse or the hook? Or
pre-chorus?
Pre-chorus?
Yeah, where you build up. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense because your voice is really good at runs and stuff.
Mm-hmm. So, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. No, that makes sense. You've always had a very powerful voice, for sure. But I've noticed that since like 2019, when you started on TikTok, all the way till now, your voice has developed really well. I want to know, is there anything that you did specifically to improve your voice?
Oh, it's just singing almost every day.
Yeah.
Almost every single day. Again, since 2019, I've been going at it nonstop. Mm-hmm. I've never had vocal lessons my life. Like I had like maybe 2 weeks worth of vocal lessons when I was 18, but it was barely anything. So that's why I like pulled out of it. But again, like I just continuously like sang like on TikTok and like figured out what sounds better, and it's just practice, right?
Yeah. So there's nothing like in particular, like no techniques or warm-ups that you do?
No, I'm really bad. I should be doing vocal warm-ups, but I don't do that, and it's like kind of bad.
So who's like your first inspiration in music? I think I already know the answer, but I just want to hear. I want to hear what you're gonna say.
Well, Ariana Grande is number one. You guys know that. Ariana Grande basically opened a lot of doors. When I would listen to her, I was like, I love her voice, and I really want to know who inspired her. Yeah. And that was Whitney Houston, Celine Dion, Mariah Carey, and I've heard of those names when I was younger, but I never really like listened to all of their material. And then I did. And then I like just practice, like sang in the shower, sang everywhere I could. Those main three are my inspos, like Ariana Grande, Mariah Carey, and Whitney.
Obviously, she was on Victorious on Nickelodeon. Do you have any aspirations to act in the future?
Yeah, I think it would be pretty cool down the road. But my main focus is music and singing. But yeah, I love acting. I think it's really fun. I love playing up a new character, and it's just like pretty cool.
Yeah, I know she do a bit of that on your Choose You video.
Yeah, we did that, and they really liked it, and we might do a short film with the production team as well.
Okay, that would be cool.
We don't know yet. We'll see.
In preparation for this video, I came across a TikTok that you made where you captioned it, I miss 2007. And so I want to know, is there a decade of music that stands out to you the most? That's your favorite?
2000s.
2000s?
2000s is just the best. 2000s is just like, I don't know, so nostalgic and so unique for the time. Yeah. The sound of it, because if you look at the music that came out in like 2000, it's so different from 2009. So different. Yeah. It's very nostalgic to me, so that's why.
In today's world of TikTok and social media, style and fashion has taken on a world of its own. You're clearly a very fashionable guy.
Thank you.
Is there a decade of fashion or era that stands out to you the most?
80s right now is like sticking out to me, but last year I was like totally into Y2K, 2000s basically. Okay. But it's more played up and kind of different. Again, it's just more nostalgic, and it's like, wow, like I miss these clothes. Like I remember seeing people wear this, but mostly 2000s is what I wear. But then again, 80s is like somewhat like taking over right now in my wardrobe. And I mostly go thrifting for a lot of that stuff, so it's easily accessible.
So on the topic of fashion, I want to know how style and fashion can affect the look of an artist.
A lot. It can it's basically telling the story without the artist having to sing or speak. You can look at them and be like, okay, I can kind of pick at this and kind of figure out and kind of see where this comes from or what their vibe is. And I feel like it's extremely important. It basically just gives the whole thing away without speaking, and it adds personality and character.
How does style and fashion to you like affect the artistic vision of like say an album cover or something?
A lot, like with photo shoots and stuff. And music video outfits. It can affect it a lot. You want to display like your whole vibe through your clothing as well, as best as you can. And like also you want to look cute, of course, in it. And it'll display a lot of it, and it should correlate with the music, and like it should show off your personality just like music could.
And what about like performances and stuff like that too? Because I know you've been performing since 11 years old, and you've done talent shows. So do you put much thought into the fashion behind it and like the story that it tells while you're performing?
Well, you want to capture their eyes. You want to be extra, and you want to be a lot. Like you just want to put on a show with also your clothing, and you also want to display that for them as well. Yeah. And you want to be different. You want to show who you are.
In one of your Instagram posts that you made under your Choose You song, you said that TikTok can bring a lot of blessings into people's lives. Mm-hmm. I've definitely experienced this myself. And for a platform that gets a lot of hate, I want to hear what kind of blessings that you've experienced through it.
It can bring a lot of opportunities. It can bring a lot of people in your life. That's how I met Akila. Yeah. That's also how I met Bianca. And I really wanted a team that could work with me and help me out, and genuine people that I can work with. And they are truly like two angels that I love a lot. Like I talk to them about like my problems, like on a personal level. Like I just speak to them a lot, and then we also work together. TikTok brings in a lot of blessings and a lot of opportunity, but you know, sometimes you'll get hate. It's okay. It like does not mean anything when you have like an audience watching you and opportunities that come through that, because TikTok is such a huge thing, and I'm so grateful for it every single day.
So after watching the behind the scenes for your Choose You video, I realized that you have a lot of creative minds around you. I want to know how having those creative minds around you affects you and helps you as an artist.
Well, basically, like when you got to know them, you got to know that they have flaws just like you, and they have sometimes the same thought process and like little insecurities that you may have. And it's like, oh my gosh, I'm not the only one that thinks like that. And it's very comforting. It was very fun having a lot of the creative minds and like pitching in, and it was very neat. Like I got to like work with a bunch of other people like on a TikTok. I'm not the only one just making the TikTok. That's how I saw it, but it was a music video. It was pretty cool.
You previously mentioned your producer, Killer. I want to know what was it about those online meetings that you realized, yeah, I want to work with this person.
Well, we did like an initial meeting to get to know each other, and he was very similar to me and had the same drive. He had the same drive and had like an amazing vibe to him, and I was like, okay, let's work on a song together. And we started to work on that and then got to know each other, and we've just grown to be friends. And I talked to him a lot about my issues and he's always there to listen and actually cares, and he's an amazing producer. I love working with him and I love his style.
So I was reading that you discovered him through TikTok because one of his songs came up on your For You page. I wanted to know, what was it about that first song that you heard of his that initially caught your attention?
It was very catchy. It was very cute. It was like a camp song, and I love camping and I love the forest, and I really liked his vibe, and the TikTok that he made was like pretty funny as well. And yeah, I just messaged him. I was like, we should work. And then we did. And I didn't hop on the verse, but I was in the background doing background vocals because they wanted me to do background vocals for it. So I was like, I'll do it. And that was our first project ever. And then Can't Believe came out.
After developing a relationship with him, was it easier to work on your first song? Did it make it any easier having a relationship with him already?
Well, the debut song was like it wasn't difficult, but it was more hard because it was a first time experience for me. Figuring out like timing, like style, and like a bunch of things. Again, I was still opening up to him.
Okay, right.
But I opened up and told him about like my most recent relationship thing that happened like at that time, and we made art out of it, and it was fairly easy. But again, I felt like I could open up more and have more depth, but it was my debut. So
what was the time frame that took you from writing the song to releasing it?
We started in February and it came out May?
Yeah,
March or May.
I think it was May.
Yeah.
So that's a pretty short period of time actually.
Yeah, for the first one, like we had to figure out like art and like scheduling and writing and redoing things, and it was
So now we're going to break down some of your songs and look deeper into them. So the premise of the song is you realizing that you're better on your own, and that the biggest lesson you learned was to value your own time and presence. A year after the release of this song, how has this new mindset helped you in your life or even as an artist?
No, I'm still learning.
Okay.
I'm still learning, but truthfully, I should be on my own, and I'm doing a lot better on my own, but sometimes I forget about that. And then I stay in situations that I shouldn't be in.
Right, so you just keep making the same mistakes?
Not exactly, but somewhat, yes.
Okay. Alright, so now let's do your next song. Perfect, so now we'll move on to your next song, Choose You, which was your second release. Your most streamed song at 75,000. What were your expectations before the song's release? Did you expect it to be your most streamed song? Or
I have no expectations. Like, I just let it, like, it's like throwing it up into the sky. I just release and let go. I just hope it reaches people that really enjoy the song, and it definitely exceeded my expectations for sure, even though I just like let it go. Like it was like, oh, they really like it, because it was such a different departure from what I was doing, and normal stuff that I usually sing is more upbeat and happy. That one was like more of a ballad, and it was more intimate. I was like, I don't know if they will like this, but let's just do it and let's just see. And it exceeded all expectations that I had.
Earlier in the viral hit segment, you mentioned in your biggest TikTok that you didn't try too hard. You just went in there and enjoyed it. And you said the same thing about this song now. So I think it's safe to say you should continue to keep doing that.
Yeah, that's what I have to remind myself.
So what was the writing process like for this song?
Choose You, basically, we sat down and we did a whole different, like, starting off. Like, they were like, Jacob, just tell us what's been going on. So we just sat in a circle, kind of like therapy, and talked about it. Then Akila just started off with a melody, like on a piano. I was like, wait, I have an idea. So then I started humming something out and then got into it.
So now it's time for your newest release, Lies. First, let's start with what inspired you to make the song.
Well, it was a bit of drama that was happening. I was going back to a party where a person that I used to talk to was there. I was just like, oh my gosh, I want to make this song like about that. I'm just feeling that vibe because it's like, now you're calling back to me, you know that? Yeah. And that's basically where I got the inspiration from, just going to a party, seeing that person there, and basically wanting to say this to them. But I didn't, of course, because I really don't want to take the time out of my day to do that. But I wrote about it, and now we have Lies out right now, and it was just about that. And it's more of like a feel-good song, and kind of depicts my like angry side. It's not a very angry song, but it's more of like a malevolent song. And that's a side of me that I don't want to hide, because I know everyone has that, and everyone can tap into that with that song. So that's why it's out now.
Like that's what makes it stand out to me, is that contrast, because it comes from a place of pain, but yet it's an upbeat, happy vibe.
Yeah.
And to me, the way I interpreted the song is that after being hurt, like you kind of feel relieved in a way, because now you're taking your power back. And so I feel like the beat behind it as well really emphasizes you taking your power back and having that, not arrogance, but like you're secure in yourself and you're confident. So was that intentional, or was that just kind of how it came about?
Akila came to me and he's like, I have this like really cool like idea, and we can use the snake charm, and it's like I was like, I love that. And then he showed me the beat. I was like, this is amazing. And then again, like I just stepped into it, and I was like, now you're calling back to me, said you want my love to keep. And I was like, yeah, that's exactly what I want to say to that person, and depicted that pretty well, I feel.
The verses took a while for me to like understand a little bit, and then but the hook right away caught me. I was like, oh yeah, okay.
Yeah, because verses are like more tricky. Like you have to go in depth, and like for my like writing style, they're not like very surface level, like straightforward lyrics. Yeah. You have to like listen and look into it, and then you'll find out.
Yeah, well, that's where the best artists like create their verses from.
Thank you.
I don't know if you're a fan of Drake.
Yeah, I like Drake.
And when he was writing Views, he was doing like an Apple interview, and he was saying how like if you get it on the first listen, he didn't do his job. Like you should have to do some work on the listener's part to really understand the verses. So I think you do a pretty good job doing that. Thank you.
Yeah, again, like I tried to get that all into the chorus, because I feel like that's the most important part. But then when you go into verses, like this is like a writing tip, you want to go in depth about what's going on, and then a chorus is a summary, and then a pre-chorus is like sometimes it's mostly questions that you can ask yourself that may be contradictory, or again it can build up into the chorus. That's what like I've gotten tips about and like have actually implemented into. But like, yeah,
it's funny you say that, because there's a songwriter, her name's Naja. That's her artist name.
Yeah,
but she's written like No Guidance and a lot of like Ariana Grande songs as well.
I think I've heard of her.
Yeah. She brought up a similar point where like the pre-chorus is like pretty much that you are trying to figure out what you're trying to say almost.
We put the questions, instead of it in being in the pre-chorus, we put that in the bridge of Lies. So if you listen to it, it's like basically the whole song is about taking power and not giving into their lies. But in the bridge, it's like, what if I do? Could I give into that? Would you be up for that? You know what? Actually, never mind. And then you hop back into the power. And that was like the little thing that I added. I was like, I think we should like maybe give in, because that's literally like what I have in my head going on. Like I have questions like that. I'm like, should I? Because I'm sure I'm not the only one that thinks like that. So I was like, I wanted to pick that into the song, because that's exactly how I felt.
Because I definitely noticed that, where it's like most of the song you're arrogant or not arrogant, but like you're secure in yourself.
Yes.
And for that brief period in the bridge, you finally have some like self-doubt, and you're like, do I need this person? You know, all the thoughts that would come into your head, and then instantly brought yourself right back into it. You're feeling good again. Yeah. So that was a really cool detail that you guys added. So what improvements are you looking to make in your next song? Whether that be songwriting, song structure, production, whatever it is.
I feel like I can be a lot more open than what I am already, but I'm still getting there. Like I'm more open than what I was with Can't Believe. There'll always be improvements on vocals and structuring a song. I always like try to be the best that I can be and try to beat my previous self. So of course there can be many improvements, and that'll come with time, but there have been improvements that have been laid out, and when you're working with Akila and Bianca and they say, you know what, holy crap, like you're like actually getting pretty good at this, and it's like reassurance and reminding you, and that they actually take notice, it helps out a lot, and it shows that you're actually progressing.
So with Lies being your second release this year, can we expect a future project, like an EP coming up soon?
We have a lot of music that we can release, and we're working on one right now, which is like my most vulnerable, and it like just I really miss it. I want to listen to it like right now. I wish I could, but I don't have it on my phone. But like that one I feel like is coming out pretty soon. I don't know if I'm gonna release it yet. I don't know if I want to release it out to the world yet, but I'm really excited for that. But in the future there might be an EP very soon, who knows.
So what's like your ideal track list for it? Like 6 or 7?
6 or 7 for the EP for sure.
Okay. So how many genres are you looking to explore on this EP?
So the EP, I want it to be very consistent, and to depict my artistic idea for that one piece of like music. Not a specific genre for sure. It would be pretty experimental, and it would focus in on something that I haven't done and feed off of that. That's what it would be. But I can't give too much away just yet.
Well, Jacob, thank you so much for coming on the show. You've been an amazing guest.
Thank you.
I'm glad we could learn more about your story, and I'm excited to see where your music career goes. And hopefully we can have you back on in the future.
Of course.
A lot bigger than you are. So let them know where they can follow you on the rest of your music journey.
Well, thank you for having me today and taking the time out of your day to interview me, because I've never done an interview or podcast like in person. So I just wanted to thank you again. But yeah, guys, if you can give this guy like a lot of your love, follow him, do a lot that you can, because anything helps. If you want to, my social links will be in the description. For most things, it's just Jacob Hayden. So on Instagram, it's the Jacob Hayden, Twitter, the Jacob Hayden, TikTok is Jacob Hayden or Singing Rat, and on Spotify, it's Jacob Hayden, Apple Music, all of that. So if you guys want to, click those links, subscribe, stream, and anything helps. And thank you guys so much.
And go listen to Lies.
Thank you guys. Yeah, listen to Lies and tell me what you think.
Thank you guys.
Thank you guys.
See you guys later.